We start Unit 2 today, which kicks off with a bunch of different types of application problems or word problems. So today we're starting with what's called break-even application problems. Now I want to fill in at the top before we kind of look at these break-even type problems. I want to fill in steps for, just in general, for word problems. Now we have seen this before. We did an introduction lesson to word problems at the end of Unit 1. So we're kind of picking up where we left off a little bit and just doing more challenging word problems. The steps are still the same though. So the first step, and hopefully we wouldn't even have to point this out to most of you, but for the sake of taking it slow, step 1 in a word problem, don't be intimidated by the fact that it's words, okay? Read it. And while you read it, or after you read it, underline important information, circle important information, cross off things that don't matter. That's the first step. You just got to read it, give it a chance, try to find out what's important and what's not. Once you've done that, figure out what you're trying to find. The question usually shows you that, and define your variable. Okay, so say, okay, I'm trying to figure out how many people, so P equals people. After that, step 3, you want to write an equation to represent the situation. Remember that an equation, the word equal is pretty much in that, so this should have an equal sign, whatever you write to represent the situation. Once you've written the equation, and I'm going to put a star next to step 3, that's the hard part. Being able to write the math as it relates to the situation. Once you've done that though, hopefully it's fairly simple from there, and you're just going to solve for your variable. Okay, so there's some steps. If you get totally stuck, refer to the steps and say, all right, what am I being suggested I do next? So example 1, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read it. Okay, it says, Joe started his own lawn mowing business. Good for Joe, but no offense, that is like really not important to me at all. It's not going to help me write my equation, doesn't help me define my variable. Good for Joe, but I'm moving on. So Joe bought a mower for $284. Okay, anytime I see numbers, that's what I care about. Okay, I know that all the numbers need to go in my equation. So he bought a mower for $284, and he spends $2.50 per lawn for gas and supplies. Okay, that all is definitely going to be important. He charges each customer. Okay, so it looks like he's like spending money and he's making money because he's going to charge each customer $38 to mow their yard. Let's hope all the yards are the same size. It's in a cookie cutter subdivision. We'll say that. So I want to figure out how many lawns must Joe mow to break even. Now, maybe we don't even know what this break-even thing means. So I'm going to underline that in a different color because that's kind of like what we're talking about today, break-even application problems. Now, if you don't know what it means in business to break even, obviously if you're selling something or you're wanting to start a business up, you're going to have to fork over some of your own money before you get going. And that's where Joe like bought the lawnmower, and he's going to get gas and supplies. So you're going to have costs. When your costs equal what you've made, that's when you break even. So as soon as Joe starts mowing lawns and getting some of his money back, once he's gotten all the money back that he's spent, we say that that means he's like broken even. He hasn't made money, he hasn't profited, but he's gotten all of his money back. So here's a general like setup. If you're looking at a break-even problem, you want to identify the costs, and you want to set that equal to, we'll say, income, or like what you make. So let's say the cost is like your spendings, and the income is how you make your money. So anytime you guys, you see a break-even problem in this class, that's how you're going to set it up. So I'm going to highlight that. That's important. Cost equals income. So, okay, I've read stuff, I've underlined. Let me define my variable. Look to the question. How many lawns must Joe mow? So lawns is what I'm trying to figure out. How many does he have to mow to break even? So I'm going to use L, and I'm going to use a cursive L, so that way it does not look like a 1. You could use an uppercase L, doesn't matter. Now I've got to write my equation. So I've got to put all the numbers in the variable together with an equal sign to represent this situation. So it's got an equal sign. I'm going to use my setup. I know I got to write his costs on one side and how much he makes on the other. The sentences are breaking this up. So Joe bought a mower for $284. That's a cost. He went out to the store, bought that with his own money. And so on top of that, that's like add to that, $250 per lawn. Now per, you guys, that means multiply. So I need to multiply 250 per lawn, and I used L to represent the lawns. So I'm going to say plus 250L. Okay, I'm going to cross off the numbers that I've used. You need to use all of them. I use both of those, so I'm good. Those are all his costs. Now he charges each customer $38 to mow their yard. So on the other side of the equal sign, that's where his money's coming from, his income. Now, here's the mistake people make. They'll just say, oh, 38. But think about it. No matter how many lawns Joe mows, he's going to make $38, whether it's 1 or 100. No, he makes $38 per, there's that word again, $38 per lawn. So you got to have an L on both sides. That is the hard part, you guys, being able to set up the equation. But like I said, hopefully now that it's set up, it's not too bad to solve. Yay, you're going to be able to use your own calculator on all this stuff, not one of my little ones. So I just got to solve this for L. So I'm going to get the L's together. I'm going to move the smaller one, subtract 250L. So that's 3550 L. And then I'm going to divide by 3550. Oops, do it on both sides, that would be helpful. So 284 divided by 3550. Okay, Joe has to mow 8 lawns to get all of his money back that he spent on his mower and his supplies. All right, so there's an example of a break-even problem. Let's do another one that's a similar setup to this break-even idea. So first step, read it. A toy company spends $1,500, so 15, circle that, each day for factory expenses, plus, obviously that means add, $8 per teddy bear. What do you know? There's the word per again, so I know that means multiply. So $1,500 for factory expenses plus $8 per teddy bear. Now, in turn, the company sells the teddy bears, so this would be like their income, how much they make. They're selling each bear for $12 each. How many bears must the company sell in one day to break even? Okay, so this is a break-even problem again. So go with your same highlighted setup up here. I want to define my variable first, though, so look to the question. How many bears? So bears is what I'm trying to figure out. So I'm going to say B equals bears. Now the hard part, I want to write the equation, so it's got to have an equal sign. On one side, I'm going to put the costs that this company has for making the bears. That's the first sentence. So they spend $1,500 to like give the factory air conditioning, to pay the workers, whatever, all the factory expenses, plus, so add on top of that, $8 per bear. So you got to multiply 8 times B. Okay, so I use those numbers. On the other side, that represents what they make off of the bears, and they told me that they sell them, so they make $12 each, $12 per bear. Number one mistake people make, they don't put a B on both sides. There's always a B or an X, whatever variable, on both sides in break-even problems. Once you set it up, hopefully it's pretty easy to solve from here. So I'm just going to get the B's together, and then I'm going to divide by 4. And this should come out nicely, and it does. So the company's got to sell 375 pairs to break even. All right, on the back, we're gonna do one more together, and then you guys are obviously gonna try the one that says you try. So come to class tomorrow. With that done, I wanna see what you come up with. But I'm gonna do one more, so I'm gonna read it. It says you want to join a gym and can't decide whether to buy a membership at Planet Fitness or at the YMCA. Okay, that's good. I know the setup of the situation, but obviously none of that helps me write my equation. So I'm going to kind of like cross off that sentence after I've read it. Here's where my numbers come in. So Planet Fitness charges $50 for a membership fee. Okay, so Planet Fitness, $50 for a membership fee. This is totally useful when you become old like me and you're trying to weigh gym costs. I've done this before. Planet Fitness charges $50 up front for a membership fee plus, obviously that means add, $10 per month. Okay, on the other hand, the Y, so I'm going to use a different color, the Y charges a membership fee of $30 plus $15 a month. So it looks like the Y charges less up front but more per month, and Planet Fitness charges more up front but less per month. So I want to figure out after how many months will the costs be the same. So if you get a situation like this is kind of like a break-even problem where you're setting some quantity equal to another, but instead of thinking of it as like cost equals income, you're going to think of the two companies and set those two things equal. So in this situation, I'll kind of write a note off to the side here. I'm going to do, let's do blue, Planet Fitness. So that's one of my gyms I'm talking about. I'm going to write an expression for how much it costs to be a member there, and I'm going to set that to how much it costs to be a member at the Y. Okay, so that's kind of my setup here. But I need to follow my steps. I need to define a variable before I write the equation. So look at the question. After how many months will the cost be the same? So months is what I'm trying to answer. So let's call it M. Get my equal sign. On the left side, I'm going to write an expression for how much it costs at Planet Fitness. So look to the blue circled words here. It's a $50 membership fee right when you join, plus $10 per month. Per means multiply. Okay, set that equal to the Y's numbers. They charge $30 plus $15 per month. So if I set these two things equal and solve, I'm going to be able to figure out when the costs are going to be the same after how many months. So hopefully it's not terribly difficult. From here, I just got to solve for M. And if I didn't write so big, this might be a little bit easier to fit on here, but hopefully you've got a little bit more space than I do. I ran out of space for my last step, but obviously I would just divide by 5, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So after 4 months, the two gyms would cost the exact same amount. Okay, beyond that, or less than 4 months, it's going to be different. At 3 months, it's different. 5 months, it's different. But at 4 months, they're exactly the same. So if I'm thinking to myself, what's a better deal? Well, I got to figure out how long I want to work out for. If I'm only working out for exactly 4 months, it makes no difference. I could go to Planet, I could go to the Y. They're going to be the same. But if I plan to have a gym membership for a year, hopefully when you join a gym, you plan to work out for more than 4 months. So let's say I'm thinking I want to work out for 1 year. Well, I want to know which one's a better deal. To figure that out, I could just use each side of my equation here and plug in for my month. So let's do that. And a lot of you, I think, could answer this question without doing this, but maybe it wouldn't be so obvious in the future. Here's what you would do. So think about it, 1 year. Well, I'm talking about months here, so I got to think about how many months that is. That's 12. So if I come to Planet Fitness, which was this side of the equal sign, it was $50 plus $10 per month. And I'm talking about 12 months. On the other hand, the Y was 30 plus 15 per month. So I'm just using each side of the equal sign and plugging in for how many months I'm talking about. So Planet Fitness would cost $170 for the year, and the Y would cost $210. So obviously Planet Fitness is going to be the better deal, cheaper. Math in real life, guys. This is actually useful. And I think a lot of you could have seen that because they charge less per month. So over time, they're going to be the cheaper option. All right, so go ahead and try example 4, and I will check that next time.